Humility, from a biblical perspective, is a foundational virtue that permeates the teachings of the Bible. It is often described as the quality of being modest, void of arrogance, and possessing a respectful appreciation of one's own limitations and those of others. In the Bible, humility is not just encouraged, it is commanded and presented as a path to spiritual growth and favor with God. This concept of humility contrasts sharply with today's culture, which often values self-promotion and individualism. The Bible, across both the Old and New Testaments, provides numerous teachings that celebrate and mandate a humble spirit. For instance, Proverbs 22 verse 4 states, "Humility is the fear of the Lord. Its wages are riches and honor and life." This suggests that humility is deeply intertwined with reverence for God, leading to profound earthly and spiritual rewards. The essence of humility in the Bible goes beyond mere self-deprecation. It involves recognizing God's greatness and our dependence on Him. Humility is also portrayed as essential for community living and is often linked to other virtues like kindness and patience. This interconnectedness highlights that humility is not just a personal attribute, but also a social one, impacting how individuals interact with each other within a community. By valuing others and acknowledging our own limitations, humility fosters a more compassionate and understanding society. The Bible's consistent message is clear. Humility is not weakness, but strength under control. As we delve deeper into biblical texts and stories, the layers of meaning within the concept of humility unfold. These scriptures not only instruct but also inspire, providing a blueprint for living that enhances both personal and communal well-being. Understanding this biblical perspective is crucial for anyone seeking to lead a life aligned with spiritual principles and communal harmony. The Bible is rich with verses that articulate the importance of humility. These scriptures serve as both a guide and a reminder of the value God places on this virtue. For example, James 4 verse 6 offers a powerful promise. God opposes the proud but shows favor to the humble. This verse encapsulates the divine principle that humility attracts God's grace, whereas pride can lead to spiritual resistance from God. Another significant scripture is Philippians 2 verses 3 to 4, which advises, "Do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather, in humility, value others above yourselves, not looking to your own interests, but each of you to the interests of the others." This passage not only calls for humility, but also promotes a selfless approach to relationships, emphasizing the biblical belief that true humility involves elevating others and putting their needs first. Moreover, the Beatitudes, as presented by Jesus in the Sermon on the Mount, begin with, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven." Here, being poor in spirit refers to a sense of humility and acknowledgement of one's spiritual need for God. This attitude is deemed blessed, highlighting how central humility is to receiving God's kingdom. These teachings are not just historical. They resonate with timeless relevance, encouraging adherence to humility as a way of life. Understanding these scriptures helps believers and non-believers alike to grasp the profound impact humility can have in their lives. It is not merely about lowering oneself, but about lifting up God and others, creating a balance that enhances personal growth and societal health. As we explore further, the lives of biblical figures offer concrete examples of humility in action, reinforcing these scriptures through lived experiences. Throughout the Bible, many figures stand out for their humble approaches to life and faith, providing real-life models for humility. One prominent example is Moses, described in Numbers 12 verse 3 as very humble, more than any man who was on the face of the earth. His humility was not just in his demeanor, but also in his leadership, often seeking God's guidance and acknowledging his limitations, which made him a great leader despite his self-doubts. Another exemplary figure is King David. Despite his status as a king, David exhibited profound humility, best illustrated when he danced before the Ark of the Covenant in 2 Samuel 6 verse 14, wearing a linen ephod. He showed that his kingship did not exempt him from expressing his devotion to God in a humble and public manner. His Psalms, too, are filled with pleas for God's mercy and acknowledgements of his own failings, reinforcing his humble character. Jesus Christ is perhaps the epitome of humility in the Bible. Philippians 2 verses 6 to 8 describes how Jesus, though being in very nature God, did not consider equality with God something to be used to his own advantage. Instead, he made himself nothing by taking the very nature of a servant, being made in human likeness. His life and teachings are the foundation of Christian doctrine, emphasizing humility not just as a virtue, but as the very essence of godliness. These figures are not just historical characters. They are enduring symbols of how humility can define and elevate a leader's influence and legacy. Their stories provide practical insights into how humility can be manifested in various aspects of life, from personal faith to public leadership. As we consider the relevance of these examples today, it becomes clear that the biblical call to humility remains profoundly significant. In a world often driven by competition and recognition, the biblical teachings on humility remain incredibly pertinent. In contemporary society, humility can be seen as a countercultural stance that challenges the often egocentric norms of modern life. By adopting a humble approach, individuals can foster environments of cooperation and mutual respect, which are essential for sustainable personal and professional relationships. The practice of humility also has mental health benefits. It allows individuals to maintain a realistic view of their abilities and achievements, reducing stress and anxiety associated with unrealistic expectations and constant self-promotion. This balanced self-perception encourages a healthier lifestyle and improves interpersonal relationships by making individuals more approachable and empathetic. Moreover, humility in leadership has been linked to better decision-making and increased group loyalty. Leaders who exhibit humility are often more effective in their roles because they are willing to listen to others, admit mistakes, and learn from them. This not only enhances their own capabilities, but also inspires those around them to strive for excellence without fear of judgment or failure. As we integrate humility into our daily lives, we can draw from the biblical principle that true greatness comes from serving and valuing others. This perspective not only enriches our personal lives, but also has the potential to transform our communities and societies. Embracing humility, therefore, is not just about personal growth, but about contributing to the greater good. Reflecting on humility from a biblical perspective reveals a profound truth. Humility is not merely a moral attribute, but a transformative force. The Bible's emphasis on humility as a virtue essential for both personal and communal well-being invites us to reconsider our own attitudes and behaviors. As we have seen through scriptures and examples of biblical figures, humility holds the key to deeper spiritual connections and more harmonious relationships. This understanding should not end with the reading of this essay. Instead, it should be a starting point for personal reflection and action. Consider the areas in your life where pride may have taken root and explore ways to cultivate a more humble approach. Engage with others in a manner that reflects respect and selflessness, inspired by the biblical teachings and examples discussed. As you move forward, remember that humility is a journey, not a destination. It requires continual effort and mindfulness. Let the lessons of humility from the Bible guide you in your interactions and decisions. Embrace the challenge to live out this virtue in a world that often prioritizes the opposite. By doing so, you not only enrich your own life, but also contribute to creating a more just and compassionate world. Let us all strive to reflect on and incorporate humility into our daily lives, inspired by the enduring wisdom of the Bible. This is not just an invitation, it is a call to action for a fulfilling and spiritually aligned life.